We all face challenges in our personal and professional lives. By refocusing our thought process, we see opportunity. We forge ahead and achieve success. I'm Sharon Weinstein, a registered nurse, online manager of the innovation community for the American Nurses Enterprise, speaker, diagnostic design thinking group facilitator, and co-author of Think Differently, 18 Strategies to Fix Broken Thinking. I believe that when we dare to challenge the norm, we unlock new possibilities, not just for ourselves, but for the world around us. Once upon a time, you've probably heard that line before, I watched one of my kids play with an empty cardboard box. That box soon became a plane soaring through the sky. Then, with a few creative tweaks, it transformed into a secret Batcave, housing heroic missions and daring rescues. It made me pause and wonder, if a child can see limitless possibilities beyond the box, why can't we? As we grow older, we're conditioned to stay within the lines, follow the rules, and avoid taking risks. We trade creativity for conformity. We stop imagining what could be and settle for what is. What if I told you that the ability to think differently is the key to solving some of our biggest global challenges, including the very foundation of democracy? It's about questioning assumptions, challenging the status quo, and daring to explore beyond conventional wisdom. Have you ever been told to think outside the box? How did that make you feel? Were your ideas not good enough? Has fear held you back and kept you inside the box? Fear is a powerful force that sometimes makes that box feel safe from thoughts like, what if it doesn't work? Or, what will people think? These fears can freeze us in our tracks. But here's the truth. Fear is not the enemy. It's a sign that you're on the brink of an outside of the box idea. Thinking outside the box is a metaphor for thinking differently or beyond the limits of the box-like structure. My journey began in a box. Growing up in a dysfunctional, abusive household, survival meant silence. I was told, learn to type, you'll never amount to a damn thing. But I refused to let those words define me. Instead, I rolled up my sleeves. I learned to type 150 words per minute on a manual typewriter with blank keys, and turned what was supposed to be my greatest limitation into my greatest advantage. I don't believe in boxes. I believe in thinking differently. I didn't just break out of the box. I reshaped it into something entirely new. I challenged the status quo and became the change I wanted to see. I learned to think differently and to ask the right questions, to solve the right problems at the right time. I made my great escape via the Broad Street subway. For me, a nursing school scholarship was a lifeline and a fresh start. And 3 years later, I emerged as a newly minted graduate with a license to practice and a new-found voice. Imagine your mind as a flashlight. When it shines in one direction, you see what's in front of you, but everything else remains dark. Now, imagine swiveling that flashlight and illuminating other things. This is thinking differently, moving the flashlight and exploring the very shadows that may have held you inside the box. If we never move that light, we stay trapped in a narrow perspective, unaware of the hidden corners that hold new ideas, solutions, and opportunities. Gene Liedtke is a professor of business administration at the University of Virginia and an expert in design thinking, an innovative problem-solving approach in a world filled with uncertainty. Most problem-solving is based on predictability. We use past data to forecast the future. Design thinking asks that we learn our way into the future through a process of experimentation and prototyping. Her 4W's blueprint openly explores the current situation. What is? Imagines possible innovative solutions. What if? Prioritizes solutions. What wows? And defines actionable interventions. What works? Step 1 is reality. What is the current situation? Listen to and engage with different communities, from marginalized groups to political leaders. Feel their frustrations, joys, and needs. Understand their experiences and start seeing the world from their viewpoint. Step 2. Reframe the challenge by stating, what if? What if uses the what is findings to generate new possibilities. Gather diverse groups, perhaps from tech, education, and civil society, and encourage brainstorming of ideas. Instead of asking, how can we increase voter turnout, we should ask, what if we made participation in the democratic process accessible and meaningful for everyone, regardless of location or status? What if we created a new voting platform? Or what if we increased community engagement? Step 3, refinement. What wows? We now refine the what ifs, those statements, and consider what is doable, what investments of time, talent, and dollars are needed, and what will wow our stakeholders. Consider what is inspiring, what behaviors need to happen for this to work, and create a prototype. It may be on a napkin, an unfinished mock-up, or a built-out model. And then step 4, revision. To determine what works, the best ideas from phases 1, 2, and 3, the small-scale prototypes, are revised. We'll gather feedback, improve our solution, wash, rinse, and then repeat. This human-centered approach includes those for whom one is designing and puts them at the center of the design. Let's apply this formula to reshaping global democracy. Number 1, the what is helps us connect, ensuring that others are heard. Number 2, defining the real problems leads us to what ifs and potential solutions. 3, what wows lets us fine-tune what is practical. And 4, finally, what works focuses on the next steps and our action plan for the end users. Thinking differently is not new. After all, I embraced it as a child, although I didn't know that's what it was called. Picture a world where billions of people with a vote and a voice, no longer confined by geography or government, shape policies on human rights, climate change, and global health. This is a world where every voice matters and every vote counts. So, how can you start thinking differently today? Challenge your assumptions. Ask yourself, what if everything I know is just one perspective? Seek diverse voices. Expand your circle to include people who think, look, and live differently from you. Embrace failure as a learning process. Every setback is a stepping stone toward a better solution. And remember that Oprah Winfrey once said, ask the right questions, and the answers will always reveal themselves. Thinking differently is about asking those questions. Questions that challenge norms, disrupt narratives, and open doors to new realities. It's about solving the right problem at the right time, overcoming fears, and persistently shining your flashlight into the dark corners of possibility. But thinking differently isn't easy. It involves courage and risk. Not every idea will succeed, but every attempt teaches us something valuable. The courage to fail forward is about embracing failure as a stepping stone to success. Thomas Edison failed over 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb. When asked about his failures, he said, I haven't failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. Imagine if he had stayed inside his box, too afraid to fail. Our world would be a much darker place, literally. Where is that flashlight when we need it? When we dare to think differently, we permit others to do so. We create a culture of innovation, inclusion, and empowerment. Reshaping global democracy is about more than just individual breakthroughs. It's about collective action. It's about believing that one voice, your voice, can spark a movement. If we each dare to think differently, we can break down the barriers that divide us. So I ask you today, what if you could step beyond the box you've been placed in? What if your ideas, your voice, your vision could ignite change, not just for you, but for the world? From the Broad Street subway to every step I've taken in my journey, I've learned that thinking differently is not just a personal mission. It's a global one. The path beyond the box starts with a single step. The courage to think differently. Now, let's roll up our sleeves, move that flashlight, step beyond the box, and illuminate the future together. Are you ready?